Hey guys, I'm John, that's Sam, and today we'll be talking about how America got to space.
So all these events take place in the NASA's Langley Research Center. Starting in the early 1940s, white and colored women were finally getting access to well-paying jobs at NASA's Research Center due to the labor shortage, with so many being sent out to fight in World War II. As time moves on, we come to cover times like the Civil Rights Movement, the space race, the Friendship 7 launching, and the Apollo 11 moon landing.
I'll be introducing the 4 African American women who helped America into space. These 4 women who were teachers before showed excellence in mathematics, earning them a spot working at NASA/NACA. Now, one of the main people to help get America into space was Dorothy Vaughan, who is a mother of 6 and is also married to Howard Vaughan, and was a mathematician/human computer at NACA/NASA, and she contributed the most towards the launch of Apollo 11. She was one who calculated the lunar landing so the astronauts didn't blow up while landing or land in the wrong place. Another woman, like Katherine Johnson, she was the one who helped to calculate the flight path for Apollo 11. She was married and had 3 kids, but eventually got married to another named Jim Johnson, which is how she got her last name Johnson, and had 6 grandchildren and 11 great-grandchildren. Now, Mary Jackson was another one of the 4. She was the first African-American woman to become an engineer at NASA. And finally, Christine Darden was a human computer/mathematician at NACA/NASA, but eventually transitioned into an engineer after working there for a while, and worked in air tunnels for flight tests and air pressure for aircrafts and etc. All in all, these 4 women played a major key role in the Apollo missions and other projects at NACA and NASA. Most likely it would have taken longer to send those astronauts to the moon, and I'm sure they'll do even more for the other Apollo missions yet to come.
Hey guys, I'm Josh, this is Kyrie, and next we're going to be talking about the events that led up to America launching Apollo 11 and then America actually launching Apollo 11. So first was the beginning of the space race, and the space race actually begun during the arms race, which was between the USA and the Soviets. And what happened was the US and Soviets thought that control of space would help with winning the arms race. And this is because if one of the countries could get a rocket or satellite into space, then it would show that they could do the same with a missile or some sort of nuclear warhead or something. And it would give that country an upper hand in the space race mentally and technologically. And then this idea made it so that both countries were trying to get a working satellite or rocket into space as quickly as possible. And this is what got the US to start working on the Apollo rocket ship. And then second was the founding of NASA. And the founding of NASA was mainly in response to Russia launching the Sputnik 1 satellite, which was the first ever working satellite to make it into space and to make a orbit around Earth. Then after the Soviets launched Sputnik, it made the US feel like they were behind in overall space technology and like they needed a serious space agency to look over the nation's activity in space, which is where NASA was founded. And then NASA became US's main space agency, and they began to develop the Apollo rocket ships. Finally was the development of the Apollo 11. This was the rocket that ended up actually making it into space for the US and put the first man on the moon. This rocket took around 5 years to make and ended up being set for launch in July 16th, 1969.
Lastly, I'm going to be talking about the main event itself, the Apollo 11 mission and the launching of Friendship 7 spacecraft. John Glenn, the first American to orbit the Earth, would not go into space until Katherine Johnson rechecked the coordinates, even though NASA's computer did the calculations. After Katherine made sure the computer put out the right coordinates, John Glenn made his way into the spacecraft and launched into space. During the flight, one major emergency happened when Glenn was on his second orbit of the Earth. The heat shield of the spacecraft wasn't in place. This was an issue because the heat shields prevent the spacecraft from the extreme heat when coming back down to Earth. But don't worry, the Friendship 7 spacecraft made it through its third and final orbit, and came back down to Earth safely. After the launching of Friendship 7, Katherine Johnson, Dorothy Van Quan, Mary Jackson, and Catherine Darden kept their jobs at NASA and helped with many missions to the moon. Then 7 years later, Apollo 11 was launched, making Neil Armstrong the first man on the moon.
Thank you for listening to the process of how America got to space and landed on the moon with the help of Dorothy Vaughan, Mary Jackson, Christine Darden, and Katherine Johnson.